Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking a look at my application exercise number one. Thank you, Professor Price, for this cool assignment and letting us analyze really complex situations in the prison system, correctional facilities. There's multiple disabilities that people are going through that are not cared for properly or tended to in the timely manner that they should. And we see that in many unannounced the unexpected deaths in the prison system, especially in Texas for TDCJ. It's more common, and I think we're already in the fourth. We're in April now, and it's already been about 100 deaths from what I researched just now. And I'm also a correction officer myself. I work at the Huntsville unit, just across the street from the school. So this gives you a little bit more of a perception and perspective of what we see and what others are seeing. So for the article that I picked, it's called Reshaping the Justice System for People with Disabilities. So this is also what we're speaking about and what to do going forward from that. This article, it really shows what the criminal justice system deals with daily, and people who have mental illness, disabilities, or neurodivergent conditions that are just beyond just your normal medications and your normal interventions, that it takes more effort and more focused resources or to a different facility to attack these things and to help these people, the ones that are incarcerated. So I give you a brief summary of this article. One of the biggest takeaways is that people with disabilities are very misrepresented. They may have underlying conditions that are not seen. This is in the jails and the prisons, and we already know the difference between jails and prisons. They're one's short term, one's long term, and where they actually do their sentence. And sometimes they don't get caught in time, or they don't get the right amount of resources or staff to really understand the issue that they have. And it affects the correction officers, and I've seen it firsthand myself. For example, this article explains that people incarcerated are 4 times more likely to have a physical disability and about 7 times more likely to have cognitive disabilities. So it's physical and mental. And in this article, it also mentions about 44% of the people incarcerated have a mental condition of some sort, whether it's major, minor, or something that they overlook, or they may not even know themselves until they're pushed to their limits, which can happen. So right away, we're already seeing the correctional facility is holding so many people that need to be in deeper care. And then I know, mind you, yes, they are incarcerated, they have done a crime, but there's also this thing called the Constitution and laws that there needs to be some kind of equality for it. And I know there's always discussions in correctional facility. Should we prioritize these guys as much as we should? Because, come on, they're bad guys, but you got to look at the laws and the morality of it. Yes, they did crime, but they also need help. And sometimes it is because of the crime. I mean, because of their mental disability that was before they got in. That's why they're in. So one of the bigger identifiers in this article that I found is someone with autism might avoid eye contact. Someone with this is an example, and officers who would misinterpret that as being suspicious as or dishonest. It's a perception thing that they may overlook. And someone with a cognitive disability might respond slowly or disregard you entirely while being under the influence, as they may think they are. And because of these misunderstandings, people with the disabilities are more likely to get arrested, have a use of force on them, or face a harsher penalty that they're already in, which can extend their sentence or deny their parole, etc. So the lack of accommodations of these things is what the American Disability Act is required to implement into these facilities, which was not present before. Um, it doesn't track accurately who has disabilities. Like once again, I mentioned earlier, it doesn't always get it right before getting into the system for these individuals. So this creates an unfair situation for those who don't understand their rights incarcerated, they don't understand what they're entitled for, and the legal proceedings, they might miss it all, and what's expected of them, and while they're serving out their sentence, because they also have an expectation, part of the rehabilitation in prison. It's not all just about punishment. There is a type of restructuring, reforming, that recidivism that needs to happen, that a lot of them don't get to see if they're in this disability category, if they have this mental thing. So I would say the next thing in the article is the solutions and the reforms. What is the next step for this? And I know we can talk all day about this, but where's the what is the money going to come from? Where's the structures, the resources, the staffing going to come from? We can't just, it sounds good on paper, and we do have a handful of these facilities to really help these guys and girls, but they're overfilled, they're overpopulated, they're backed up so much that this is one of the biggest issues in the prison system in America, that if we really are trying to focus on fixing these people's minds, and it's putting it in a simple term, there's just not enough psychological and medicated resources to help each one of these people. And this article is also telling how could it improve. One of the major ideas is shifting the medical model to a social model, and really focusing on the uh, verbal solutions for one-on-one dedicated care to an inmate and a medical professional, mental health professional as well. So, and also you can always never get enough of better training for the police and correction staff. That's always a thing. There's also correction officers that are not doing what they're supposed to, so that also plays a part in it. And there's multiple programs that are for these, that are in the prisons and jails, that have life skills and education for them, and that's just a stepping stone before they can get even, or this is after they have already had mental help, and where they can go next in that. So, and overall, I would say that this article, it doesn't, it shows that we're not fully ready to take on the battle of what is underlying already, and is already shown that a lot of inmates have mental problems, and a lot of them have had mental problems before they got incarcerated. So it's just showing what the bleeding is and what we can do, and it's going to take money. That's the bottom line. And who is going to be willing to help these people? It's going to be these professionals that I told you, that they don't misunderstand them, they don't punish them, but they're willing to reform and recidivize them back into society if they have the opportunity to get back in. So to fix this, we both need structural changes, like better policies, resources, cultural changes, all the typical things, and improved awareness about this issue, to that where the state can really make an impact in. And in the end, this article, it really shows that justice is not just by law enforcement, but also understanding and meeting their needs, regardless if they committed a crime or not. So I appreciate y'all for taking a look at my video, and have a good one.